Hello and welcome to Fire of Learning. I'm Justin. To all of you Anglophones or English speakers out there, if someone offers you a knuckle sandwich, you know generally not to accept. If I spill the beans, it means I reveal information, specifically private information. If somebody kicks the bucket, it's a crude way of saying that they've died. Hopefully they at least got to fulfill their bucket list. However, if I say that someone has long teeth, you likely wouldn't get that, unless you speak French. In French, to have long teeth, or avoir les dents longs, means to be ambitious. Things like idioms are a challenge when learning a foreign language. They aren't always something that you can figure out based off of the literal meaning of the phrase. English speakers know exactly what it means to get to the bottom of a situation or to pull someone's leg. We don't even think about the literal meaning. Yet to someone who is not as familiar with English, these phrases can be quite confusing. Today, we are asking, what kinds of idioms, metaphors, proverbs, phrases, and expressions and whatnot do they have in other languages, and how well would we do in figuring them out? Well, let's get to it. Let's start off with some easy ones. There are many phrases out there which are similar to the ones we have in English because, frankly, people around the world come to similar conclusions about the fundamental facts of life. In some cases, idioms are directly translated from one language to another and take the meaning with them. Take this German phrase. Man soll den Tag nicht vor dem Abend loben. It means, you shouldn't praise the day before the evening. Pretty much like counting your eggs before they hatch. A German might also tell you, Hausens Breinbruch, break a neck and a leg. This is a good thing. Just like saying break a leg in English is a good thing. It stems from the idea that it was bad luck to wish someone good luck before a theatrical performance, and so people would wish harm on each other in hopes of achieving the opposite. Therefore, if a German were to hear the phrase break a leg, it would be klar wie Kloßbrühe, clear as dumpling broth. The meaning of that is obvious, but why they use that phrase specifically, I'm not sure. In English, we have a phrase which makes sense, crystal clear. A couple other examples in German and Estonian, they accuse people of making an elephant out of a gnat or a fly, about the same as making a mountain out of a molehill. To sweat carrots in the Netherlands is the same as sweating like a pig. In France, if you've made a mistake, well, carrots are cooked. Much like spilled milk in the English-speaking world, there's not much you can do about it. Likewise, if someone is wasting your time in France, you can say, Au revoir, j'ai d'autres chats à fouetter, meaning, later, I've got other cats to whip. The equivalent of, I've got other fish to fry. If you prefer the other person leave, however, in Latvia, you could tell them to go pick mushrooms. Let's now go by country and move on to these less clear ones. Take dongyeon-iji. That's Korean for it's a carrot. That means it's obvious. And that's of course not very obvious or carrot to speakers of other languages though. Nor is it obvious why carrots are so idiomatically appealing. Anyway, in Japan, someone who wears a cat on their head is what we would call a wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't be surprised if the Japanese turn over the palms of their hands to such people, or give them the cold shoulder. To pull water from your own rice paddies is to do something for your own benefit. In China, if you and another person are breathing from the same nostril, then it means you're on the same page. If you're not on the same page with someone and you're talking past them, then the Chinese would say that you're playing an instrument to a cow. To express things clearly, you might try avoiding drawing snakes with feet, or including detailed and unnecessary information. Not forcing you, just, tossing a brick to attract jade. Or as we would say, throwing it out there. In Kazakhstan, if you're grateful for someone, you could convey this to them by saying that you see the sun on their back. If you're quite anxious in Sweden, someone may say to you, there's no cow on the ice. Relax. The Danes, especially Danish morning larks, like to get things done before the devil puts his shoes on, or early in the morning. You'll earn respect from Norwegians if you speak directly from the liver, or tell them things straight without sugarcoating it. In Russia, if you've done something wrong that you feel guilty about, you are a thief with a burning hat. Perhaps, for example, you feel guilty about hanging noodles on your ears or telling lies. If you are doing wrong, well, you'll just have to take yourself in your hands, meaning get yourself together. But if you refuse to change your ways, well, they'd say you could sharpen an axe on your head, a phrase used to refer to a stubborn person. It can be stressful having to polar bear around somewhere, like a busy store in the Netherlands, meaning pace up and down, but it might be worth it to get something for an apple and an egg. In other words, a good price. The Portuguese and Brazilians who speak their language are resourceful people. As they would say, if you don't have a dog, then hunt with a cat. Or, in other words, make the most of what you've got. To have monkeys inside your head is to have a crazy idea. And if you share that crazy idea with a Portuguese person, they may tell you to take your pony away from the rain. Or, as we would say, don't hold your breath, because it's likely not going to happen. In Spain, if you enter into some kind of competitive environment, someone may remind you that a cat in gloves doesn't catch any mice, meaning nice guys finish last. If someone is all talk and no walk, then the Spanish would say that they're all noise and no walnuts. Don't have hairs on your tongue, just tell it like it is. If someone is cheap, a Spaniard would say that they're very elbow. To pull someone's hair in Spain is to pull their leg. In Italy, someone might advise you, don't let anyone treat you with fish in your face, meaning don't let anyone disrespect you. Don't find yourself disrespecting others though either, otherwise you'll quickly become a dog in a church, or an unwanted guest. And perhaps the most Italian idiom I found is their version of once every blue moon. Once every death of a pope. If you swallow grass snakes in France, it means you've been insulted to such a degree that you cannot reply. Doing so might leave someone with the cockroach, or as we call it, a case of the blues. Don't you hate when you ride an elephant just to catch a grasshopper? Put heavy effort into something just to get little in return? The people of Thailand certainly do. If a Polish person gets mad enough, they might tell you to go get stuffed with hay. Don't take it personally though. They might just have a fly up their nose, or are just in a bad mood. Although that doesn't necessarily mean you have to put up with it. As the Polish would say, not your circus, not your monkeys. But if someone is really quite rude to you, well, an Icelandic person might take them to the bakery, or tell them off. Having trouble learning how to do something? Well, oftentimes, repetition teaches the donkey, as they say in the Arab world. Or as we would say, practice makes perfect. You can't always expect to get something in a zucchini bite, or a short period of time. You've really got to try to do it though. The tongue doesn't have a bone after all, meaning actions speak louder than words. Some similar advice from Uganda is that a roaring lion kills no game. And in Azerbaijan they say that you don't taste sugar by saying sugar, meaning you achieve things by working, not just saying you'll work. But don't overdo anything. Swahili speakers will remind you that if something tastes too sweet, then it isn't sweet anymore. In India, to have a comb in your hand for a bald head is to work on a useless task. To have your nose cut off is to suffer shame, and you may indeed be ashamed if you're caught making cows fly, or in other words, telling lies. In the Philippines, someone with onion skin is a sensitive individual. To throw vapors at someone in Romania is to trick them. An empty vessel makes the most noise. That's how the Indonesians say, stupid people talk too much. Smart Indonesians drink water while diving, or as we would say, kill two birds with one stone. Being skilled in conversation is a useful talent. In South Africa, they might say such a person could talk a dog out of a bush. Likewise, if you're the devil's father to a Turkish person, it's not an insult, it's actually meant to say that you are quite charming. Such people are often able to make talking about the air and the water, or small talk, entertaining. Many cultures have a phrase that is uttered in response to a sneeze or a cough. When someone sneezes, people generally, of course, say, "Bless you," and "May your mustache grow like brushwood." At least that's what they say in Mongolia. The practice of saying "bless you" dates back to ancient times. Sneezing was the first sign of plague, and therefore asking God to bless someone was believed to be a prudent move to help someone stay healthy. Why the Mongolians have added the latter part of the phrase isn't known, but it is evidently becoming less common. The Mongols do have some more idioms and phrases which make more sense, however, such as, the camel that arrives last bears the heaviest load, similar to saying that the early bird gets the worm. In Cameroon, they will remind you that rain does not fall on one roof alone, meaning trouble comes around to everyone at some point. No matter how hot your anger gets, it cannot cook yams, a phrase used in the Congo to remind people that anger alone does not solve anything. Alright, well, I of course was not able to include everything, but you could really fill entire books with lists of these kinds of phrases from all over the world. So I think that this has been a good list of some hopefully entertaining and useful ones. If I missed some good ones though, be sure to let us know in the comments section below. I also hope that you enjoyed this video. If so, I invite you to come check out the rest of Fire of Learning and to subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. If you'd like to support what I do, you can help by donating on Patreon, the link to which is in the description. A special thanks to our current patrons listed here. Fire of Learning is also on Instagram and Twitter, and I have a science channel called Lucinox, which may also be of interest to you. So come check that out too. Thank you for watching.